Damage controlled. Taylor-vention, and RIP to a legend. Welcome to the Unlimited Supply Podcast, your daily music business TLDR in your ear, powered by a shower of queeners and rods, and brought to you by No Disc, helping music, technology, and finance companies navigate the music industry in partnership with Digital Music News. It's August 7th, 2026. I'm Lars Murray. It's another Finance Friday. So let's dive right into the shallow money trench where thieves and pimps run free. Damage controlled. That would be an apt title to slap on top of the Warner Music Q2 earnings report. If you're like me, you've been wondering all week if some shoe was going to drop on Thursday on Warner's earnings call after their CFO Armin Zerza exited the company and they hastily replaced him with interim CFO Lou Dicker at the end of last week, right on the cusp of their Q2 report and call. And then they subsequently released what was called preliminary numbers at the top of the week. Well, no shoes dropped yesterday. For now, pretty much everything significant at Warner was up about 10 to 11%, matching those preliminary numbers. In general, slightly down against Q1 growth, but still growth. And if you factor in the fact that BMG took its market share and packed up and left, that 11% actually looks pretty solid. So not a whole lot to see here, although I did notice one outlier. Pretty much everybody else in major land and in streaming land reported softness this quarter in the ad-supported streaming sector, but not Warner. Theirs was pretty healthy. And Robert Kyncl went so far as to call out strong industry trends, which sounds odd, and deal economics as drivers of ad-supported growth. That's interesting. If ad-supported growth is a sore spot for the other industry players, why is it not for Warner? Could it be because the one place that ad-supported revenue is booming is YouTube, and Robert Kyncl came from YouTube? Is it possible that Warner is just YouTubing better than the other companies? I'm going to go with, I bet that's the case. And if it is the case, I'd be looking at that as an A&R hook for WMG. Elizabeth Dilts Marshall had the full WMG breakdown, such as it was over at Billboard. Murray Stassen did the honors at Music Business Worldwide. And as always, a hat tip to Ross Walthall over at Cleveland Research for the Cliff Notes. Even if you're not a Swiftie, haven't you ever awakened in the morning and asked yourself, what has Taylor Swift done for me lately? Oh, go on, you have. It's a natural part of the human condition. And most days, unless Taylor has put out some new music or something, that answer is nothing. But this week, a bunch of artists signed to Universal woke up and asked themselves that question, and the answer was, actually, she put some money in my pocket. How so? Well, over at EDM Today, a first-time source for Unlimited Supply listeners, Raffi Santos picked out the detail from UMG's earnings report that UMG will be paying out somewhere around $100 million to its artists from the sale of a large piece of Spotify stock. What does Taylor Swift have to do with all of this? Well, a few years back in the middle of a heated negotiation with UMG, Taylor decided that she'd ask for Universal to include artists in any proceeds of the Spotify stake that they had wrested from the streamer in their original licensing deal, and to share those proceeds regardless of whether an artist was recouped. That's just cold, hard cash, no strings attached. Of course, it's pretty good PR, but Taylor didn't have to do this. She could have just cut her own side deal, and frankly, most artists would have. So, if you're a Universal artist and you're wondering what Taylor's done for you lately, think of that little Spotify dividend check coming to you in the mail. So Taylor forced UMG to share its Spotify spoils with the artists. Now will she do the same with AI? A couple of weeks back, we reported that the American Federation of Musicians was going after Universal over its new AI deals, reasoning that AI constituted, quote, new use, unquote, under UMG's deal with the AFM, and that meant that the AFM deserved some clout and recognition. Absent any Taylor-vention, UMG is fighting back and seeking to get the AFM suit dismissed. Over at Digital Music News, Dylan Smith has the full story, which, best I can figure out, boils down to UMG saying there's no money here, there's no agreement here, and you don't get a share of no money based on no agreement, which in my opinion sounds a little flimsy, especially in a world where UMG's counterpart, Warner Music, remember them, is touting the revenue coming in from its AI deals. So there may be no agreement, but there sure is money over there. And that's another Finance Friday, time for the Song of the Week. Some of you may or may not know that back in the 90s, in the former music capital of Boston, I had a little garage punk band called Noisy LeGrand. If you're curious, our single album, Rock is Cheap, is on all the major streaming services. But I'm not here to talk about Noisy LeGrand. I'm here to talk about Jeff Monoman Connolly. Jeff was the garage rock mayor of Boston as the leader of the legendary combo The Lyres, when other musicians were turning introspective, going electronic, and sometimes inadvisably expanding their horizons into other directions. Monoman stuck to garage rock and stuck to it well. Jeff was an amazingly animated frontman and a talented songwriter, and one of the few performers I've ever seen able to adequately front a band from behind a keyboard, in this case usually a classic Vox or Farfisa organ. Thanks to another late great Boston music original, Billy Ruane, every time he booked the Lyres, he would stick Noisy LeGrand on the bill as the opener. I know Billy liked us. I have no idea whether Monoman liked us or we even registered on his radar, but I do know that he was always happy to borrow our gear. Whatever it takes to stand next to greatness. Peak greatness for Monoman and the Lyres came early in the form of this week's Song of the Week, Help You Ann, from their classic album On Fire. R.I.P. Jeff Monoman Connolly. Thanks for tolerating us, and thanks for putting this song out into the world. It's on our Unlimited Supply official podcast playlist on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Qobuz. There's a link in the show notes. If you have a song to submit for Song of the Week, let me know. Support for Unlimited Supply comes from you, our listeners, so go support us over at unlimitedsupplypod.com. And if you like what you hear, please hit that follow button wherever you get your pods. Follow us on Substack or drop us a rating and or a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify. And tell a friend or three, preferably 21 times, because according to marketing whiz Susie Schultz, it now takes not 5 but 21 times for anything to sink in. Links are in the show notes, but you can also visit unlimitedsupplypod.com to sign up for our newsletter, to tell us what you think about the show, to suggest feature ideas, to feed us info, to feed us lunch, to call us out on our dubious assertions, and to tell us what we're missing out on. In the words of the great philosopher Eduardo Rivadavia, don't let your short-term greed get in the way of your long-term greed. And remember, in this business, no conflict means no interest. It's August. It's vacation time. I'm taking Monday off. I'll see you Tuesday.